Okay, let's set the scene. March 31st, 1995. We're in room 158, Days Inn Motel, Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yeah, it's a date and a place etched in memory, isn't it? The day a really, truly bright star was silenced.
Absolutely. Today we're doing a deep dive into Selena Quintanilla-Pérez, a name that, gosh, still resonates so strongly.
Selena, born April 16th, 1971, Lake Jackson, Texas. She wasn't just, a singer. She became this huge cultural figure.
The Queen of Tejano music.
Exactly, the Queen of Tejano, a real Mexican-American icon, bridging cultures, and her voice, incredible.
Yeah.
But also her style, her fashion.
Oh, yeah, the fashion was iconic.
Yeah.
And that stage presence, just magnetic.
Totally. And it all happened so fast, early 90s, boom, she wins a Grammy.
Which was massive for Tejano music at the time.
Huge. Then she launches her fashion line.
Yeah.
And she was right on the edge, you felt it, of this massive English language pop crossover.
It really felt inevitable, didn't it? Like the next logical step.
Absolutely. And the songs, Como La Flor, Beady Beady Bom Bom, Amor Prohibido.
Still are.
They really are. They weren't just hits. They connected with a whole generation of Latinos who saw themselves in her story, her sound.
Tejano music itself is such a vibrant mix, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's this blend of Mexican folk, German polka influences, actually, country, rock. It's got its own unique energy. She took that and made it global.
Okay, but her story, it's incredible success, but there's also this just devastating betrayal at its core. Let's talk about Yolanda Saldívar.
Right, Yolanda. So she comes into the picture first as like the ultimate fan, starts the Selena fan club in 91, seems super loyal.
Devoted even. And then gets closer, becomes manager of Selena's boutiques.
Yeah, on the surface, it looked like this dedicated supporter, working her way up, earning trust, becoming part of the inner circle.
But there were signs, weren't there?
Yeah.
Things that maybe weren't quite right.
There were. People who worked in the boutiques, even members of Selena's own family, started noticing things. Manipulative behavior, controlling tendencies. It wasn't all smooth sailing behind the scenes.
And then the money issues. That's where it gets really serious.
Yeah, allegations started swirling, money missing. From the fan club accounts, from the boutique accounts, we're talking reports of over $30,000.
Wow. That's not an accounting error. That feels deliberate.
It certainly points that way. And Selena's father, Abraham Quintanilla, he saw red flags. He actually confronted Yolanda and warned Selena about her.
He told her flat out, didn't he? She's dangerous.
He did, those exact words. But Selena, by all accounts, she was incredibly trusting, loyal.
Maybe too trusting?
Perhaps. She saw Yolanda almost like family, someone she'd brought into her world. It's that dynamic, that closeness that makes the betrayal just so much more shocking.
Which brings us back to that day, March 31st, 1995. Selena agrees to meet Yolanda at the Days Inn. Why?
The stated reason was to get financial records back. Documents Yolanda supposedly had that Selena needed. It was meant to be, a business meeting, essentially.
And over the papers. But it didn't go like that.
No. Inside room 158, things got heated. An argument broke out. We don't know the exact words, but the tension clearly escalated.
And then the unthinkable.
Yeah. As Selena turned to leave the room, Yolanda pulled out a gun, a .38 caliber revolver.
And shot her.
Shot her in the back, severed a major artery. Just devastating, horrifying.
It's almost impossible to picture. And Selena, even after being shot.
She managed to run, made it out of the room, down the hall, to the hotel lobby, trying to get help, collapsed there.
But even then, she had the strength, the clarity to identify her attacker.
Her last words, reportedly, Yolanda Saldívar, naming her killer right there.
Paramedics arrived, rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late.
Yeah, she was pronounced dead at 1:05 p.m. Just 23 years old, all that talent, all that potential, gone.
The public reaction was just immense.
Oh, incredible. It wasn't just shock. It was deep, profound grief. Across Latin America, people were weeping. Vigils popped up everywhere, not just in the U.S., but globally.
Radio stations played her music constantly, like a soundtrack to the morning.
It really was. What do you think it was about her specifically that caused such an intense connection? I mean, obviously the talent, but...
Think maybe it was her authenticity. Like you said, bridging those two worlds, Mexican and American. She seemed so real, so down to earth, despite the fame.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. She represented something powerful for people who maybe felt caught between cultures. And her music, while rooted in Tejano, had this universal appeal. Love, heartbreak. Everyone gets that.
And people felt like they knew her. That connection was personal.
Absolutely. And in Texas, the governor ordered flags flown at half-mast.
For an entertainer, that almost never happens.
Right. It just shows you the scale of her impact, how much she meant, especially in her home state.
Her funeral. Just unbelievable crowd.
Over 60,000 people turned out. Fans wanting to pay their respects. You still hear people talk about it today like they lost a sister, a friend. It was that personal for so many.
And even after her death, her star just kept rising, didn't it?
In a way, yeah. Her posthumous album, Dreaming of You.
The crossover album she was working on.
Exactly. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart.
#1. A first for a Latin artist at that time.
Unprecedented. It just cemented her legacy. Even in tragedy, she was still breaking barriers. It spoke volumes about her music's power and that connection she forged.
Okay, let's turn to the aftermath. Yolanda Saldívar. What happened immediately after the shooting?
Well, she didn't immediately give up. She got in her pickup truck in the motel parking lot, and there was this long standoff with the police.
Right, I remember that. It was all over the news. How long did it last?
9.5 hours. It was incredibly tense, broadcast live. Eventually, she surrendered.
And then the trial.
That happened later the same year, in October 1995. High profile, obviously. Huge media attention.
And the verdict.
Guilty, first-degree murder.
The sentence was life in prison.
Life in prison, yes, but with the possibility of parole. That was key.
After how long?
After 30 years. Which brings us pretty close.
March 2025. That's when she's first eligible.
That's right. Next year. And as you can imagine, the prospect of her potential release, it stirred up a lot.
A lot of pain, a lot of anger again, I bet.
Absolutely. For many fans, for the family, the idea that she could ever be released is just unthinkable. The feeling is very strong. Life should mean life.
Where is she now?
She's currently incarcerated at the Mountain View Unit, a women's prison in Gatesville, Texas, and she remains there pending that parole hearing possibility next year.
It's a difficult part of the story, but it's part of the reality.
It is. But, despite that shadow, Selena's light, her legacy, it really does endure.
Oh, absolutely. Through the music, first and foremost. It's timeless.
Definitely. And through her family, who've worked so hard to keep her memory alive and positive, and the fans, of course.
Yeah.
Generations of fans now.
And she's received recognition long after her passing, too.
Right. Like the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2017, that was a big moment. Long overdue, many felt.
And there was that Netflix series recently.
Yeah, Selena. The series came out in 2020, introduced her story, her music to a whole new audience who maybe weren't around in the 90s.
Keeps the legacy going. And there's a museum too, right? Corpus Christi.
The Selena Museum, run by her family. It's a real tribute, a place fans can go and connect with her life, her achievements, see the outfits, the awards.
It feels important to remember she was more than just a singer, right? She was, like you said, a symbol.
Totally. A symbol of the American dream in many ways. A fighter, someone who broke down cultural walls. A symbol of hope, really, proving that talent, drive, authenticity, it can take you anywhere.
It's incredible. Nearly 30 years later, 28 years on, and her voice, her impact, it still feels so present.
It really does. It speaks to who she was, the power of her spirit.
And I think you're right. It's crucial we focus on the life she lived, the joy she brought, not just the tragic way it ended.
Yeah. Celebrate the music, the achievements, the barriers she broke. That feels like the right way to honor her.
Rest in power, Selena Quintanilla. You will never be forgotten.